All right, thank you guys. Happy Monday to you. Now, if you want to save yourself some time, all of today's picks for this video can be located at the end of the video in my pick, what's it called? My quick pick recap. There you go. So if you're pressed for time or if you just want to find out what the pick is right away, you don't want to hear me stammer on and on like I am right now, just go ahead and fast forward right now. It's cool. Just go ahead and fast forward to the end of the video for my quick pick recap. And with that said, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content here on YouTube. We're going to start off with the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. That's going to be a 12 p.m. Eastern start time. Now, Georgia's the 14-point favorite on the road here. Total's 42 and a hook. Very low total there. Now, we're 3-1 in our last 4 daily best plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And access to those premium sports picks costs just $1.99. We're also hitting at 67% in our last 9 extra daily picks on that very same website. And access to those plays, that extra daily pick, costs just $2.99. Now, we have well over 790 members signed up and active on that page. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, if you like Kentucky in a big upset at home here in this matchup, the Wildcats are plus $6 for some money line cash. Kentucky is coming off a double-digit loss at home to Missouri. They scored just 3 points through 3 quarters against the Tigers. That's going to put Kentucky at just 2-3 on the season. They're also throwing for a measly 142 yards a game. Terry Wilson, he's yet to break the 600-yard mark passing-wise through 5 games. He's only thrown 4 touchdown passes all year as well. He's also got only 1 receiver with more than 68 receiving yards on the season as well. And as much as folks like to talk about this Kentucky defense, just keep in mind they gave up 42 to Ole Miss and 29 to Auburn, so they can be exploited. The Wildcats have failed to cover the number in 3 out of their 5 ball games this season as well. They're taking on a 3-1 Georgia team who's rushing for 165 yards a game. Zamir White is gaining 4.2 yards a carry, and he scored 5 touchdowns on the ground. Wide receiver Kearis Jackson also has 21 catches for 323 yards and a score. He's averaging nearly 16 yards per reception. This Georgia offense is scoring 33 points a game, 31 points a game in their couple of road contests. Meanwhile, defensively, these guys are allowing just 19 points a game and less than 67 yards per contest on the ground. Now, linebacker Azeez Ojulari leads the program with 3 sacks along with 3 forced fumbles, 2 PDs, and a fumble recovery. Monty Rice is currently leading the team in tackles from the other linebacker position as well. 24 tackles, 1 sack, and a defensive touchdown for Rice. Now, this Bulldog defense has 8 takeaways through 4 games, mostly thanks in part to the play of defensive back Richard LeCounte, who has 3 interceptions thus far in the season, 13 total tackles for Richard. Now, injury-wise, looks like Wilson, Dort, and Bohanna have been listed as questionable for Kentucky. And when it comes to the total in this one, Georgia's last 2 straight got over the posted number. They're once again averaging 31 points a game when they travel. Meanwhile, the Wildcats of Kentucky have been able to put up 33 points a game on their home field themselves. So with all that said and done, I think it should go over the number. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs minus 14 and the over 42.5 in that contest. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for SEC football week 9. But college football week 9, SEC football like week 4 or 5. I don't know. All the different conferences started at different times. But anyway, before we dive into some more free content here, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are currently 3-1 in our last 4 daily best plays on Patreon.com/BrockPage. underdog.com/Brock page. And access to that content costs just $1.99. We're also hitting at 67% in our last 9 extra daily picks on that site as well. We currently have over 790 members signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join them and get in on the action, link for that site is in the description section below. Hey, I'd love to have you. I'm looking forward to seeing you sign up here. This week, next week, in due time. But anyway, that's patreon.com/Brock page. And moving on, we're going to take a look at LSU taking on Auburn. Can't find it here. There we go. 3:30 p.m. Eastern start time. LSU's -3 on the road. Total 63 points. LSU's lost 2 out of their 4 contests on the season. Losses to Mississippi State and Mizzou during that span. Defensively, they're allowing 30 points a game. Brennan and Baskerville are questionable. Meanwhile, Auburn on the other side, they're coming fresh off a 35-28 victory over Ole Miss. And they scored 14 fourth-quarter points to catapult themselves past the Rebels. The Tigers have also won 2 out of their last 3, including a 30-28 victory over Arkansas as well. Running back Tank Bigsby, is averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the season and 432 total yards on the ground for Tank. Auburn rushes for 164 yards a game. Meanwhile, wideout Seth Williams has 440 yards receiving and 3 scores. He's averaging over 18 yards per reception. The Auburn defense has 6 takeaways in 5 games. Defensive back Roger McCreary has a pair of interceptions along with 3 PDs and 21 total tackles. Now, total-wise, Auburn saw their last 2 straight ball games stay under the number. They're officially 4-1 to the under thus far in the season. Meanwhile, LSU saw their last 5 straight games at Auburn stay under the number themselves. Give me the underdog Auburn Tigers +3 and the under 63 in that contest. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Ole Miss. Did I pass that one or not? I'm not sure. But anyway, it's Ole Miss taking on Vanderbilt. 4 p.m. Eastern start time. Oh, yeah, I'm up in the 7th there. Let's go back. Let's slow it down here a little bit. Ole Miss, there it is. Ole Miss Vanderbilt. 4 p.m. Eastern start time. The Rebels of Ole Miss are -18 with the total at 61 and a hook. The Commodores of Vandy are +$6 for an upset win. Now, Vandy, they are 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games hosting the Rebels. If you're into historical trends, this Vanderbilt defense surprisingly has forced 5 turnovers in 3 games, and they've gotten to the quarterback 4 times. Now, Dayo Odeyingbo has 2.5 sacks along with 18 total tackles, and linebacker Anthony Orji, yeah, you heard it, Anthony Orji has 18 total tackles on the season for Vandy, 7 of them solo. Vandy's taking on an Ole Miss squad who's lost their last 3 straight, giving up 44 points a game on average during that stretch. The Rebels are a dismal 1-4 on the season and failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 ball games. Quarterback Matt Corral's been sacked 11 times and has thrown 9 interceptions. The Rebel defense is also averaging just 1 takeaway per contest. Now, total-wise, Ole Miss's last 2 straight ball games stayed under the posted total. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves. They've scored just 26 total points in 3 games. It's terrible. So, although I do think they'll keep this one close, despite not being able to score, I'm not, expecting a whole lot of points in this one. Give me Vandy, the Vanderbilt Commodores, +18, and the under 61.5 in that game. And moving on, we're going to take a look at Mississippi State taking on, they're squaring off against Alabama, and that is going to be a 7 p.m. Who's that? Saweetie, wow. Very nice. Anyway, Mississippi State taking on Alabama, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Tuscaloosa. The Crimson Tide's -31 in this contest, total 63.5. The Bulldogs of Mississippi State are +1,600 for an upset win. The Bulldogs are averaging just 10 points a game in their last 3. Quarterback KJ Costello has been sacked 13 times already and he's already thrown 10 interceptions through 4 ball games. The Bulldogs are also averaging just 28 yards a game rushing. They're averaging just 1.5 yards a carry. Their leading rusher right now is Jaquavius Marks, who has 22 touches for just 89 yards. In addition to losing their last 3 straight, Mississippi State has failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. Hill and Johnson are listed as questionable for the Bulldogs. Now, they are taking on an Alabama program who's a perfect 5-0 on the season, 3-2 against the spread in those ball games. The Crimson Tide was laying double digits in 4 out of those 5 contests. They are 2-0 against the number at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and they've forced 8 turnovers on the defensive side of things. Now, Daniel Wright and Malachi Moore each have a pair of interceptions in this secondary, each of them with a scoring touchdown, a defensive TD as well. Now, linebacker Dylan Moses currently leads the program in tackles with 43. Bama's won their last 20 straight ball games at home, 6-0 straight up in their last 6, hosting Mississippi State. Now, total-wise, Bama's most recent contest against Tennessee fell under the posted number. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Mississippi State saw their last 3 straight stay under the line themselves. No real surprise there, as they just really have had trouble, kind of moving the ball. But anyway, give me the Alabama Crimson Tide minus 31 and the under 63.5 in that ball game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Missouri taking on Florida, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Star Time. The Gators are the 14-point favorite, total 62.5. The Tigers of Mizzou are plus 360 for an upset win. Now, Missouri's won their last 2 straight ball games, victories against Kentucky and LSU during that span. The Tigers are also 3-1 against the spread for the entire season. The Tigers are averaging nearly 150 yards on the ground, mostly thanks to their stud running back Larry Roundtree, who's touched it 87 times for 396 yards and 3 scores. Wideout Jalen Knox also has 19 catches for 216 yards. Kicker Harrison Mavis also is a perfect 9 for 9 on extra points and 7 for 8 on field goals. He's actually hit 2 field goals over 50-plus yards. Now, Mizzou is taking on a Florida team who hasn't played since October 10th. Coronavirus, it is real. It's messing things up. Now, Florida's also failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight. Their defense is allowing over 33 points a game, and they have just 3 takeaways. The Gators also failed to cover the number in their lone home game of the season. Now, total-wise, 5 out of these teams' last 8 head-to-head meetings stayed under the number. Meanwhile, Mizzou saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the total themselves. Man, this TV screen is getting ridiculous. Can we pause this? I don't know. Anyway, Mizzou saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the total themselves. Their lone game on the road also stayed under the number. Give me Missouri plus 14 and the under 62.5 in that contest. And with that, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Arkansas taking on Texas A&M, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff in College Station. The Aggies are the 12.5 point favorite. Total's 55 and a hook. The Razorbacks are plus 360 on the money line. Arkansas is the best covering team in the SEC. 4-0 ATS thus far in the season. Marquee covers over the likes of Ole Miss, Auburn, Mississippi State, and Georgia. The Razorbacks are coming off a 33-21 victory over Ole Miss, where they held the Rebels scoreless for the entire first half. Just 7 points through 3 quarters of play in that one. Hey, there I am. I can see. I wish I could pause this. The screen behind me is going crazy. But anyway, Arkansas also won 2 out of their last 3, including a victory over Mississippi State, where they held the Bulldogs to just 14 total points. This Razorback defense has double-digit interceptions already on the season, 10 to be exact, 13 total takeaways through just 4 games. Hudson Clark has 3 interceptions from that Arkansas secondary, 14 tackles in a PD. Greg Brooks and Joe Faucha each have a pair of interceptions as well. Kicker A.J. Reed's been perfect on PATs. He's also 4 for 4 on field goals as well. The Razorbacks are taking on a Texas A&M squad who failed to cover the point spread in their first 2 games of the 2020 season. They failed to cover against Alabama and Vanderbilt. And as a matter of fact, the Aggies were only able to muster up just 17 total points against the Commodores. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, A&M's most recent contest with Mississippi State fell 14 points below their posted number. Meanwhile, 3 out of Arkansas's last 4 contests stayed under the total themselves, giving me the underdog, Arkansas Razorbacks plus 12.5, and the under 55 and a hook in that contest. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into our quick pick recap, once again brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. I'm going to lean Georgia minus 14 over 42.5. Auburn plus 3 under 63. Vanderbilt plus 18 under 61.5. Alabama Crimson Tide minus 31 under 63 and a hook. Missouri Tigers plus 14 under 62.5. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to lean toward the Arkansas Razorbacks plus 12 and a hook and the under 55.5 in that contest. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. Just remember, if you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind that we bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.